And welcome back, AJA Sports Nation. I'm your host as always because you can't get rid of me. I'm the itch that keeps on itching, the best friend you always wanted but never had. I'm Ace. I'm joined here today to shoot this fantastic episode with me as Jay and Andrew. What's up, guys?
How we doing, guys?
Hi guys, welcome.
We're doing extremely well. We are definitely at the moment of the sports world where things are just a little bit slower. Doesn't mean our pace of video making is going slow. It just means that we're coming up with a little bit of this, a little bit of that to entertain you folks. If you guys have any suggestions of episodes or things you guys want us to talk about, you have the freedom and choice to comment below and let us know what you think, and we will oblige you possibly because we are still a small channel with under 100 subscribers, so we see everything that happens to our pages.
We
So
do.
as always, now and forever, like and subscribe if you can. If you can't, I don't know. Just miss me with that then. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So today's episode, we're going to talk about our hashtag franchise tags, and so that includes, but is not limited to, 10 players right now in the NFL. And in no particular order, we're just gonna talk about these with you folks. So let's start off with wide receiver from Tampa Bay, the defending champs, franchise tagged Chris Godwin to a deal which possibly will net him 16.5 million. They are looking to kind of make that a long-term deal, but Tampa Bay is also trying to pay several wide receivers and just receivers in general to make up that roster. Do we have any thoughts about Chris Godwin, Andrew?
Brady loves him. Like you said, they're going to try and strike a pretty long-term deal with him at some point. They do have Mike Evans and a lot of other money that they want to try and allocate elsewhere. We're not going to talk about him today, but they locked up Devontae David. Interesting about Chris Godwin, he's people in the fantasy circles will really know him and know his name. One thing that kind of caught me off guard was his 74% reception percentage over the last two seasons is good for third in the league behind Tyler Lockett and Michael Thomas. So definitely a player Bruce Arians wants back in the offense with Tom Brady. So good move for Tampa, but
Yeah,
don't
he
like.
had he had some injuries last year too. That kind of and I think just with the whole offense started off a little slow. So I mean they're going to be on cloud nine to start the season. So we'll see how he finishes next season. Okay, we're going to pivot to the Jets. Marcus May, safety. Uh, he- you know, for now should be getting about 10.5 million, which is where the safeties are at. His agent just criticized the Jets on Twitter a couple of days ago. I don't think they're close to a deal. Jay, do you have anything you want to say about Marcus May?
Yeah, so this is a new regime that they have over with the Jets that will be looking to see what Marcus May can bring to the defensive side of the football with Robert Saleh there as the coach. Robert Saleh does run a lot of single high is when he gives those looks on the defensive side. Marcus May did play some strong safety last year, just kind of out of necessity with Jamal Adams being gone. He's traditionally more of a free safety, a guy that people consider a ball hawk. Last year was his best year. He played every snap on the defensive side of the ball. He had 2 sacks. He finished with 2 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. So I guess he likes the number 2. He was voted a team captain and team MVP last year. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he can bring to the table. It's kind of like a prove it deal for him. Again, with the with the new regime coming in, see what he can do in Robert Saleh's defense first year. With that 10.5 million, it's relatively low for a safety. It went down $1 million from last year's franchise tag amount for that position. So, yeah, Marcus May is somebody who could be part of their future going forward. Could very well not be, and that's kind of what makes the franchise tag so great.
Andrew, you have any thoughts about how Jamal Adams left town and Marcus May? Do you kind of see that happening again?
I know a lot of Jets fans are going to be, still kind of salty feeling a little like betrayed by Jamal Adams and the New York Jets, talking up, yet another safety, wanting to tie him to a long-term deal and committing their future, and then, just jumping ship or being traded off to the opposite coast. So Jets fans aren't too optimistic with him getting a long-term deal. And as you mentioned, with his agent kind of calling out the organization, it's not exactly the look you want. May has been serviceable. He's been good. He allowed the second lowest passer rating in his position last year. So, he's good, but not somebody that I see as transcendent. I think Robert Saleh will find a good way to use him, but ultimately I think the Jets kind of move off of him and maybe find a replacement for him.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that happening. All right, so we can skip to the other two safeties here to talk about real quick. So we have Justin Simmons, the safety out of Denver. Potentially 13.6, 13.7 million. This is going to be the second year in a row, though, he's been tagged. We have any thoughts about Justin Simmons? Jay?
Yeah, so he's another guy that played every defensive snap for the Broncos over the last 3 years. He was second team All-Pro in 2019, made the Pro Bowl last year. He's a ball hawk. He's a guy that can really get after it in the pass game, which really works out for Vic Fangio's defense. They do a lot of spinning with the safeties. Spinning defensively means that the safeties will line up in one spot pre-snap, and then post-snap they'll end up in a totally different spot. When I was playing football, that can be in terms of a porch or sky coverage where the safety is allowed to pick and choose whether he wants to confuse the quarterback by staying over the top. A lot of times it'll mean robbing the middle of the field or robbing down into the porch, which is the flat area. Justin Simmons is really great. He has great instincts, great ball skills, somebody that Vic Fangio really likes on that defensive side of the ball. So I think this is just more of a placeholder for a long-term deal that's going to get sorted out over there in Denver. But Justin Simmons is definitely worth that franchise tag. His is a little higher because it is his second year being franchised. So when you're franchised your first year, I believe it's the average of the top 5 players at your position. And then if you're franchised the second year, it's the top 3, I believe. I just know it's higher for sure. I'm not 100% sure on those numbers.
Yeah,
I know it's higher.
Yeah, he's at 13.7 projected so far, and Marcus Williams, who we'll talk about next, and Marcus May are both at 10.5. So
exactly, yeah, that's that second year.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, for what it's worth, Denver did have a little bit of a down season last year, so we'll see how they do with maybe a healthier bunch on defense. I mean, they've kind of been known for like some playmakers on defense. We'll see how that turns out over in Denver. And then Marcus Williams, he. Even though the Saints don't have a lot of money, he projected $10.5 million. Might be cheaper to look in the draft, but for what it's worth, he's been a starter on their defense since 2017. And if they do get him to a long-term deal, they can probably lower the cap hit for maybe the next couple of years while they try to sort out their cap situation. How do you feel about Marcus Williams, Andrew?
Yeah. Aside from the one play back in the playoffs, the Minneapolis Miracle, Marcus Williams has been rather stellar so far in his first couple seasons with the Saints. The Saints have done pretty tremendous in their draft, in their drafts, in the players they've chosen in the last 2 years. From what I understand, this was kind of a decision of the franchise tag based on they were either going to pick safety Marcus Williams to tag or defensive end Trey Hendrickson, excuse me. So they decided with Marcus Williams. He finished 6th among safeties at his position last year with a 78.6 PFF grade. But overall, since he entered the league, he's just north of 90 for his PFF grade. So matching him up in the secondary with Marshawn Lattimore is probably where the Saints want to kind of go. And they know that they have they know that they can afford this kind of move because they want to try and get Trey Hendrickson back, from what I understand, but he's not the kind of commodity that they feel Marcus Williams is. So it's a good move for New Orleans.
Jay, what do you think? If you had to choose from the 3 safeties we talked about, Mr. May, Simmons, or Marcus Williams, who would you most rather have on your defense next season?
Yeah, that would be Justin Simmons, and it's not particularly close between them. Marcus Williams has been fantastic. Over the last 4 years, he's got 14 interceptions. That's including the playoffs. That's good for 8th in the league. Yeah, so it's not bad. He's still really young. I believe he's 24 or 24. So just coming off of his rookie deal, I believe.
Yeah, I
So
believe so.
yeah. So Justin Simmons would be the one out of the three that I like the most. Going back to what Andrew said about Trey Hendrickson, I personally think that he's more of the priority for them. I mean, they were like $60 million over the cap, if I remember correctly, just about a few days ago. So they have a lot of work to be done, especially restructuring. We did talk about the salary cap. I mean, the franchise tag hit being a little lower for safeties this year, so that could be a reason why they were okay making that move. But yeah, just a food for thought. I think Trey Hendrickson is a phenomenal defensive end.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's transition to some linemen. So we have Taylor Moton out of Carolina. He plays the right tackle. Should be getting 13.6 million this year. Looks like they like him in Carolina. Andrew, you have any thoughts about Motown over here?
Uh, he's a real solid player. Like you mentioned, played right tackle. He played every offensive snap for the Panthers in 2018 and 2020. He only allowed 3 sacks last year on over 1,000 snaps and only committed 1 penalty. So very consistent play all throughout the season. He had an 81.2 PFF grade in 2020, and CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones actually reported not too long ago that the Panthers and Motown will most likely be striking a long-term deal in the coming days. So you just expect Panthers fans expect to see him on your offensive line for next few years.
I mean, it does feel like a little bit like a wine cooler, like like a franchise tag is nice and all. It does feel like I'm kind of getting into the zone. I think mentally I'm getting a little bit more drunk than I actually physically am. But the franchise tag kind of sometimes pulls the rug out from under you. I mean, if I'm just putting my 2 cents in here, I mean, most of these guys get long term deals anyway. So like, I mean, I get the strategy behind it for an organization and whatnot, but I feel like we give too much power to the organizations to leverage money to the players, and maybe there are too many restrictions. I mean, the NFL, I believe, is going to sign a major deal with Disney now. So, like, I mean, are they like scared about spending all this money and increasing the cap just to pay the players more? That's just kind of how I feel about it. But
Well, the cap did go down a little bit because of the
yeah,
the deficiencies from COVID last season. I did
which
want to
is
touch on just
understandable.
Moten. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
did just
for
want to
it.
touch on Moten. Matt Rule did say that he's an excellent pro, even better person, and when we talk about the brand, he's all of that. So just wanted to reiterate that he's definitely a part of their long term plans. He improved his run blocking. It went up 10 points from last year to this year, which really improved his PFF grade, as Andrew mentioned. And he was the best offensive lineman for the Panthers. No bones about it over the last 2 seasons, pretty much. So yeah, Moten is a solid right tackle who the Panthers will be looking to lock up for a long time.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll stick to the line and left tackle Cam Robinson for the Jags. So I mean, uh, their quarterback Jesus, I guess their savior is coming next year. From what it sounds like and seems like, they would not be choosing anybody besides Trevor Lawrence. It's going to cost them 14.5 million to keep Cam Robinson on the roster, and he'll play blindside most likely for Trevor Lawrence next year. And from what it looks like, they don't have like the most depth on the roster, so this is probably a necessary move for them just to keep as much bulk as they can. Andrew, what are your thoughts on Cam Robinson?
Yeah, a bit of a surprise, especially when what I saw like on social media and a lot of people talking about it. He was the 63rd best offensive tackle according to PFF last year. He didn't play particularly well, but I guess I understand wanting to keep continuity. But you're bringing in a new coach, and like you said, you're bringing in Trevor Lawrence, so you're kind of tasking this I guess underwhelming offensive tackle, we can call him, to protect the blind side of what is going to be the future of your franchise going forward the next 15 seasons probably. He started all 16 games, so I guess that's a nice little bonus, and played all of the 974 snaps at the left tackle position. But most people were kind of surprised with the fact that he actually was a part of the tags, and I kind of am too, But I guess I understand wanting, like I said, continuity.
Yeah, most definitely. You have anything to add there about Mr. Robinson?
he just hasn't been good. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got 3 straight seasons with an under 62 ranking from PFF. His best season was in 2019, and I think that was Jacksonville's best season since their like inception. So I don't know what that really says about him. I did read an article on ESPN where the Jags beat writer mentioned that they tagged him um, because what's the gentleman's name from Washington? Trent Williams. Trent Williams was an option to be a free agent this year, and at $20 million was going to be too expensive. But a $15 million cap hit on Cam Robinson is okay. I don't see how that made a whole lot of sense, but go off, buddy. So yeah, I don't understand that at all. It just kind of keeps on with this pattern with Jacksonville where I don't think anyone knows what they're doing. And every time they bring in a new regime, everyone's like, oh, this is it. This is Urban Meyer's coming. We're ready to go. We're going to get Trevor Lawrence. And then Cam Robinson for $15 million.
Do we think this was an Urban Meyer decision though, or do we think this was a con their owners?
How could it not be? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Urban Meyer is not coming back to coach after all the opportunities he's had and since leaving Ohio State. 100%. And even if it's not spelled out that way, I can't imagine that they didn't come to him and ask him first. So,
yeah, no, definitely. Well, the most fun name on this is the other Robinson, is Allen Robinson of the Chicago Bears. Looks to be getting $18 million next year. They were kind of, working towards a deal last year, but that didn't really happen. He let them know how he felt a little bit on Twitter. I don't know if he's as happy as a bee over there, but I mean, he will be paid handsomely this year. What are we thinking about Allen Robinson? Do we think Chicago is going to actually extend him out, Andrew?
I think they do. He's been the number one receiver since signing with him back in 2018, and was kind of the guy that they were hoping to be the go-to target for Mitch Trubisky. They're bringing Mitch back. They picked up his option, if I'm not mistaken, and so maybe he can turn it around in the fourth season now and kind of get this offensive unit going with now that David Montgomery has kind of hit his stride in the backfield. But he was a player that I was hoping that they would pass up on the franchise tag, mainly because I wanted to see the Chiefs maybe take a run at him. But that's a little bit, little biased on my end. But he finished last season, even though, with the quarterback carousel of Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky with a career high 102 catches for just over 1,200 yards. He's a great receiver, and they'll be lucky to have him back on the roster next season.
All right, what do you think, Jay?
I mean, he's a guy who's produced everywhere he's gone. If over the last 10 years you would have told me that the two teams that a wide receiver played for were the Jacksonville Jaguars and Chicago Bears, I would tell you he's probably not a very good wide receiver. No matter who's the quarterback, he's been able to produce. Andrew kind of mentioned it right now, but last season he had 102 catches, 1,250 yards, 6 touchdowns. The year before that, 98 with 1,147 yards, 7 touchdowns. He made the Pro Bowl when he was in Jacksonville and had 11 touchdowns one season. I mean, he's unbelievable. And I'm actually of the mindset that Chicago's offense, hopefully with Matt Nagy picking it up a little bit, it's been bad the last 2 seasons. I can't make any bones about it. But with my boys, Cole Kmet and David Montgomery, bringing back Allen Robinson, if they can get, they've even been in talks about Alex Smith. And I worry about his velocity in that Chicago weather. But pretty much anybody who's better than Mitch Trubisky is going to make Allen Robinson better. And I don't think that's too tough of a task to find. Apparently for the Bears, it has been. But yeah, I think Allen Robinson is unbelievable. And I mean, he's worth a long-term deal, and he's worth the money. It is a little scary when you see these receivers coming out of college and how NFL ready they are starting to become. People hesitate, and Kenny GOLLADAY, someone will talk about later on, that it just seems like the Detroit Lions had that conversation and it didn't go Kenny GOLLADAY's way. This one went Allen Robinson's way, and when you're the best player on an offensive team that has been struggling over the last few years, it's usually going to go your way.
Oh yeah, for sure. His output will definitely exceed. I mean, he was pretty reasonable as a fantasy player last year. I think as a just regular real life player, probably didn't make the game deciding plays that he has the possibility to do. So I think it'll be cool to if they actually start building around him and putting in pieces. I think we'll see a little bit more out of him next year. You have anything else to add, Andrew?
No, not at this moment. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take our Scherf off. Brandon Scherf from the Washington football team. Their guard, he will be getting $18 million this year with the tag. Both sides keep talking about how they want a deal, and they haven't struck a deal yet. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that gets done. But he's a veteran, and he wants to continue to play for the team. What are you thinking about Brandon Scherf, Jay?
Yeah, Brandon Scherf has been pretty unbelievable for the Washington football team. Ooh, that was close. He's a four-time Pro Bowler. He made the first team All-Pro in 2020. As Asa mentioned, both teams do want to get a deal done. Putting the franchise tag allows them to be the exclusive team to do so, which is good. I found it interesting. He's the first All-Pro from Washington since 1996. That's a long time without All-Pro player. But yeah, with Morgan Moses and Chase Roullier, Washington has a solid trio up front that can protect Heineke, I guess. If that's who they're going with at the quarterback position. But Sheriff is definitely not.
Heard that. Okay, and so our last name on here will be actually probably maybe one of the biggest defensive linemen we'll see franchise tag, and that was Leonard Williams of the New York Giants. $19.3 million will be coming his way. This is his second year in a row tagged, so as Jay had mentioned a little bit earlier, that means his price tag goes up. They are working on a deal. He is kind of the quote-unquote captain of their defensive line. And then every game will be close in that NFC least division. So I mean, his impact should probably be there. What do you think about him on the defensive line, Jay?
Yeah, there's a misconception that apparently he's only a run stuffer. I read that on PFF today and then found that he had 11 and a half sacks and 30 QB hits. The 11 and a half sacks was third, and the QB hits were fourth in the NFL for his position, which is great. And he still finished as the fifth ranked PFF player in rush defense, again, for his position. The dude's never missed a game all 6 seasons. He's played every single game. So, last year was his first full year with the Giants. He got traded mid-season the year before. 6th pick in the draft. Everyone had high hopes for him coming out of USC, and if he can continue doing what he did last season, it's going to continue. I mean, those are great numbers on all accounts. Yeah, that's why I'm saying it threw me off a little bit when I heard he was just a run stuffer. I know he had like 44 QB pressures last year as well, which was tops in the league. I think like top 3. So yeah, I think it's worth that. Defensive linemen are a little more expensive. The D tackle position, that's why you see that $19.35 million tag for him. But yeah, definitely a player who I think is a staple on that New York Giants defense.
Awesome. Good input from you both there. So we're going to talk about the players that have possibly been tagged out of their situation. So first one on the list is Music Man Kenny G. Kenny GOLLADAY from the Detroit Lions did not get franchise tagged. So we're looking at him possibly going to a contender, possibly going to a team that will utilize him more. I mean, he was heavily utilized when he played, but Detroit was all sorts of injured last year. I've heard rumors that Miami is going to make a run for him. They didn't like Kenny Still, so they're trying their luck with Kenny G. What are your guys' thoughts on Kenny GOLLADAY?
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 back-to-back seasons in 2018 and 2019, going over 1,000 yards. Unfortunately, like you said, he struggled to stay on the field in 2020. He's a big go-get-it kind of receiver who can really bring down contested catches, and it would be a huge red zone threat for a lot of different teams and a lot of different contenders. I could see why Detroit didn't want to tag him. They got a new coach. They traded their franchise cornerstone quarterback for Jared Goff, who may be there long-term, may not be there long-term. So not really sure what's going on there. They may try to just invest in a heavy receiver draft. So Kenny GOLLADAY, I could see him going somewhere. Just to kind of touch on where I think he might go. I think, unless of course they see Michael Pittman as their guy going forward, I think the Colts kind of make a lot of sense. Michael Pittman, who's kind of the same build as Kenny GOLLADAY, the 6'4", almost 220 guy, showed a lot, at least to me, from what I saw on the field last year with run after the catch. And I think Kenny GOLLADAY could be that big red zone target that Carson Wentz and his new offense could really utilize. They have a lot of cap space, over $48 million. So I think the Colts might be a nice little option. But yeah, Kenny G, a big name on the market, and we'll see where he goes. Should be interesting. There's going to be a lot of cuts, and a lot of names on the move this offseason. So
Yeah,
should be exciting.
Super excited to see all these players move around, take down the top class of the NFL last year, maybe just a little bit. All right, Jay, what do you think? Give me your Kenny G take.
Yeah, 6'4", 215 is Andrew mentions. He's a freak of nature. You throw him on the outside, and he's going to be a true number one for pretty much anybody he goes to. Last year was a little wonky, as Andrew mentioned. New regime coming in this year. Not too sure what they plan on doing. It seems like they're in full rebuild mode. As I kind of mentioned, the wide receivers coming out of the draft lately have been home runs, depending on where you get them, except unless you're like the Philadelphia Eagles or something, because they draft Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. To me, I think that the best fit for him, and I'm just going to go into fit because Andrew pretty much mentioned why he's not being tagged. I think the Baltimore Ravens is a phenomenal fit. I've been talking about that for a little bit ever since I heard that he may not get tagged. Lamar Jackson needs someone else to help bolster that passing offense. They tried to do it with Des Bryant last year to get him to be a true number one. Unfortunately, they were about 7 years too late. So you can get a redo here. You can go get Kenny Golladay. Something that I've mentioned to Andrew and to Joseph specifically, Joseph Parsons, say what's up, is I want to see Hollywood Brown play in the slot more, man. I don't know why they just keep throwing him out wide and making this dude run sprints all day. And Lamar Jackson break plays, like broken plays, are the ones that he's able to go off on. Put him in the slot. Give him some easy completions. Dude's a tiny guy, in case we haven't noticed. I just don't understand kind of the philosophy as to what's going on over there. And, I mean, I get he's fast and you want to take the top off the defense and you have Mark Andrews to work underneath. But if you get Kenny Golladay, you have Mark Andrews working the short to intermediate. Now you throw Hollywood Brown in the slot. I think it's a team that can really bolster that passing offense and a team that really needs it as well.
Well, let me give you my takes real quick on both your choices there. Andrew, Kenny G to Indianapolis. And when Carson Wentz was in Philly, he threw to 2 tight ends, so I can definitely see them maybe cutting back a little bit on their tight end play and then bolstering it with, Pittman and Kenny G. I think that would make a good fit for sure. The way that I kind of see Jay's take, though, is it's maybe too good of a scenario for Baltimore to maybe play out. I just feel like maybe he wouldn't get his numbers if he went to Baltimore. I don't know if they're willing to make sacrifices on their rushing attack to give way to a balanced offense. But I think if we probably took a deeper dive into Baltimore's offense, we could probably see where they had moments that they could, they were balanced. But we'll see. I mean, I could see him, bringing balance to that lineup, but I don't know if they would actually use him that way. Yeah, Kenny Golladay. We'll see where he lands. It'll be exciting to see. Aaron Jones is the next name on this board. So he, running back out of Green Bay. They do have 4 running backs on that squad. I don't know if they're willing to just part ways right away with him. They have been talking about possibly keeping him there. Don't know if that's just conjecture or if they are moving on, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the teams will be interested in Aaron Jones. Jay, what are your thoughts on Aaron Jones? I mean, kid can run and he can run fast. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, it's pretty clear that Aaron Jones is the best running back on the market this offseason, and it's not particularly close. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network did report that Green Bay has offered him more than $9 million a year. I assume that's just a little bit more and not 10. Which he said that Green Bay doesn't want to pay top money for him. Go figure. Green Bay doesn't want to pay money for a good player. It's every year with these freaking guys. They like A.J. Dillon, used a second-round pick on him last year because they didn't have Aaron Jones or anything, who's unbelievable. So why not use a second-round pick on A.J. Dillon? Again, just doesn't make sense to me. I think that if he is not back in Green Bay, which if they're only offering him a little bit over $9 million, he will not be back. The best fit is Miami. Brian Flores is over there. He's doing a great job with that defense. They already have some threats with Devontae Parker out there and Mike Gesicki. I think that Aaron Jones can come out there, and he's pretty much 90% Christian McCaffrey. You can line him out wide. He runs routes like a true slot receiver. You can bring him inside, and he's great inside the tackles. They're a little questionable on Tua. I know Asa likes to call Tua turn the ball over. He was actually literally the opposite of that last year, though. It's kind of just a running joke because he does the exact opposite. He is very conservative with the ball. It'll allow somebody for Brian Flores to literally tell Tua, hey, we're going to turn around and hand the ball off 20 times today. You give it to Aaron Jones in the backfield, and it allows him to have an explosive playmaker because Tua is not a guy who's throwing the ball down the field. He needs people to make plays for him. I think Aaron Jones does a great job of doing that. I mean, he did it in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. So I think that's the best fit for him. I know there's already a little talk about that being a match as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. As we can see on the screen, hashtag free Aaron Jones. I mean, I think he was held back a little bit in Green Bay last year. What are your thoughts though, Andrew, on Mr. Aaron Jones here?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think he could have saw a lot more of the football than he did. Even though he saw, time with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon, still managed to have another 1,000-yard season like he did in 2019. Green Bay Packers fans, I guess my prediction of him being the first Packers player to receive the tag since 2010 fell short. So I guess wait next year. I thought he was a perfect candidate for that tag. He wouldn't have cost them a ton of money. I think, honestly, them offering him $9 million is just blatantly disrespectful. He's one of only 2 players in league history to have 3,000-plus rushing yards, 35 rushing touchdowns, and average 5 yards a carry in the first 4 seasons of their career. And the other player to do that was Jim Brown. So I know we don't want to really cast our stones too quickly, but give the man some props. He's been productive. I'll be quick on my on my little fit here, but I think the Jets are a good fit. They have almost $70 million in cap space, and I know the Jets fans are going to be like, what about Le'Veon? What happened last time? This guy's not coming off of a year of just not playing football and smoking pot. So this guy's he's been running the football. He can do it out of the backfield. When you have Frank Gore at age 37 leading your team in carries and rushing yards, it might be time to do something a little different. So Aaron Jones, I could see him definitely going to the Jets and giving Sam Darnold and that offense somebody to actually force the defenses to stack the box against to make things a little easier. So really good player on the market.
Yeah, I think both of those landing places would be terrific for Aaron Jones. I think he would get used a lot more in both of those situations, whether it be with Tua just to give him some relief there, and I can see the Jets with the new Gase is out, and their San Francisco regime is coming over. So I mean, I could see him definitely getting the most out of his running backs there. Just to quickly go over with the last couple of release, we have transactions. So Seattle's defensive lineman Carlos Dunlap was released. Buffalo's wide receiver John Brown, and Saints released Emmanuel Sanders just these last couple of days. I know those are all veterans and big names. They were mostly done to save cap space. Don't know if they'll land back into familiar spots, but yeah, we'll see. All 3 of those players have moved around in the league so far. So probably,
our resident Buffalo Bill. What's going on there? Why the move from John Brown? If you can give your quick little take, you got anything on that?
Absolutely. Stephon Diggs is the number 1 wide receiver, without a doubt. John Brown played that role last 2 years ago for the Buffalo Bills. But with 1 being Stephon, you could be a little bit more flexible with your 2s. We have probably the best second wide receiver on the field with Cole Beasley. He plays hero ball whenever he's in. He's a PPR points per reception monster in fantasy. He plays through injuries. Last year he had a broken fibula. He's going to be on the field. He's going to put it in 100% whenever he's there. And then they have flexibility to play around elsewhere there. We have Gabe Davis last year, who just Mr. Tiptoes over there. He played well for a rookie. He made fantastic toe drag catches all throughout the season, and we do have some depth otherwise. We did sit out one of our other wide receiver rookies that we drafted last year along with Gabe Davis, and that was Isaiah Hodgins. He didn't play the whole year. It was kind of on purpose. He had surgery done too, but he has great hands. He has a good eye for the ball, and I think when him and Davis were both drafted, Isaiah Hodgins to me read as probably being more of a threat. So it'll be interesting to see because I kind of undervalued Gabe Davis and then he went off. So if I'm right on Hodgins, we'll see. I think he has a chance to surprise and maybe play the Gabe Davis role that he played this year. But yeah, thank you for asking. I know old Buffalo Bills news and highlights and
Yeah, Gabe Davis right now in Fantasy Pros is wide receiver 85. So with that news, I mean, that's a bargain if he's going to get any type of role that John Brown would have gotten last season. And his touchdown equity with Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen's unbelievable. You're going to want every part of that offense. So great call. Great call.
Definitely. Okay, so we're going to turn to the NBA, and we are back to NBA action now. The All-Star break is over. We didn't have a chance to put these out before technically the midseason was over, but it's okay. We're going to talk about who we think, who our choices are for the Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, MVP, and so on and so forth. So we'll give you our takes right now. Our first order of business is Rookie of the Year. So we're gonna go through these a little bit quick. Andrew, how about you start?
Yes, sir. The All-Star break doesn't end until the Lakers start playing. Just wanted to let you guys know. But Rookie of the Year, I had LaMelo Ball. Since becoming a starter, he's averaging in the 15 games since he's been a starter, he's averaging 20 points, six assists, and 6 boards with 2 steals in only 34 minutes. So he's leading all rookies in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. So I feel like this is a bit of an easy choice for me. LaMelo Ball.
Awesome. Okay, I'll go next. I just wanted to go against the groove. Tyrese Halliburton. He is tied in wins above replacement right now with LaMelo. He's played 100 less minutes, 53 less turnovers. The way that I see it, if LaMelo is going to generate points and be showy and flashy, that's all great and all, but he has to double his production then because he doubles the amount of turnovers that Halliburton has. I will call out LaMelo a little bit later in these awards. But yeah, that's my take so far. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, Andrew's take was so good. I'm gonna re-up it. LaMelo Ball, not a huge shocker. Over the whole season, he's averaging 16, 6, 6, and 1.5 steals. He's the only teenager.
5 turnovers.
He's the hey man, he quadruple double baby with turnovers. I'm with it. Let's go. Let's break some records. However we got to do it. He's only the 3rd teenager ever to average 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in a month. The other 2 were pretty good. Luka Doncic and LeBron James. So good company to find himself in. I think he'll find himself winning Rookie of the Year as well.
Absolutely. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so Coach of the Year. I'm gonna go first. I think Tom Thibodeau, out of New York. First season, New York hasn't made the playoffs since 2013. I don't know if I wouldn't say he has the best pieces to work with, but Julius Randle, first-time All-Star. RJ Barrett's playing really well so far this year, and Rookie of the Year candidate on that roster, Emmanuel Quickly, who I was trying to make a case for to be my Rookie of the Year, but just fell a little short there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the roster and you look at the coach, you can kind of understand like they're I think 1 or 2 games above 500. They'll be close. I think they're going to make as long as they kind of finish in the middle of the pack there, I could see Tom Thibodeau winning Coach of the Year. All right, what do you think, Andrew?
I am going to go with my former arch nemesis, Doc Rivers. He's also a first-year head coach. Now he moved to Philly. He's got the Sixers as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, ahead of teams like Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Boston. They own the best home record in the NBA at 16-3 and are 18-6 against the Eastern Conference, so have just been kind of dominating. And the Sixers have been he's led the Sixers to wins against the Lakers, Celtics, Nets, and Jazz, respectively. Have yet to play the Bucks. They'll see them in their 2nd or 3rd game after the All-Star break. So for right now, I have Doc Rivers.
Gotcha. Jay, what do you think?
So I was all ready to go with the obvious choice and pick Quinn Snyder, and then I saw and remembered what the Suns were doing, and I think Monty Williams is a great candidate to win Coach of the Year. Suns are 2nd best record in the West right now, 24-11. Chris Paul has a lot to do with their turnaround, but it started before Chris Paul. We saw in the bubble last year, they went 8-0, just missed the play-in game by 1 game to try to make it into the playoffs over there in Orlando. They have the second best point differential in the league behind only the Jazz, and they have their third in total points allowed per game to opponents. So I think Monty Williams has done a great job. They got a good mix of veterans and young players over there, and then that little halfway seasoned range with Devin Booker really leading the charge. But DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges have really seen an uptick there with Monty Williams, so I'm going to go Monty Williams.
Awesome. Okay, most improved player. What do you think, Andrew?
I'm going to go back to your boys in New York. I'm going to go Julius Randle on this one. It's his second season with the Knicks. I think what's really most kind of impressed me the most, he has him at 5th in the Eastern Conference. And I say he's kind of the leader of the team. RJ Barrett has helped out a lot too. But they're above 500 for the first time at the All-Star break since 2013 when they won 54 games and last made the playoffs. He's averaging 23, 11, and 5 on 48% shooting, and he's increased his three-point shooting from 27% to 40%. So I think the most improved player is Julius Randle, and it would be nice to see the Knicks in the playoffs again. Hopefully they can continue it.
We're not the apple doesn't fall far from the tree here. I also have Julius Randle, just categorically better season than any one of his previous 6, better than his stint in New Orleans, and he's improved since last year as well. And for being first-time All-Star and just kind of being the leader of the bunch, where I wouldn't necessarily think he had, been set up for the most success. I could definitely see Julius Randle taking home that title. What do you think, Jay?
You guys are two smart, handsome, intelligent men, because I also have Julius Randle. Andrew took a few of my stats, but one I'll leave you with is that he's the first player in New York Knicks history with 800 points, 400 rebounds, and 200 assists before the All-Star break. We all saw him in LA, and we know what he was in LA, and he is not that anymore, because if he was, he would not be sniffing the most improved player award. So Julius Randle, considering again where their record is, how well they're playing, and how much of a factor he's been for that team specifically, I can see him going in and getting that this year.
Awesome. Okay, who defense? I'm gonna go first. I think it's LeBron James. And I was looking up stats this afternoon. He leads the league in defensive real plus minus minutes. So whenever he's in the game, he allows the most points per 100. And he also he's also contributed to the most wins in these real plus minus minutes. So it's just statistics that are new to the league, but pretty much they're just tracking how well the other team's offense scores on you, and you just kind of get numbers put in there. This man is 36 years old and still playing with the tenacity of that he's always been playing with since he came into the league. I kind of see it as a out of the box pick. I know that there's a couple of other favorites out there, but I'm just going to go with LeBron. And I don't know if I'll be right, but I think it would be cool to see him win.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any pushback from us about LeBron James winning awards, so no problem with LeBron there. I'm going to go Ben Simmons, though. He's one of the best on-ball and off-ball defenders in the league. Huge, long wingspan, is able to guard every position pretty much from the 1 through the 5. I mean, there may be a few 5s that he struggles with, but the dude is ginormous for a point guard. We watched him right before the All-Star break absolutely shut down Luka Doncic. In 8 full minutes of guarding him, Luka had 6 points, 1 assist, and 4 turnovers. That's just one example. Everyone's due to have a bad game, but Ben Simmons is doing this night in, night out, whether it's on the perimeter, on the low block. And if he gets the ball on the fast break in one of those stocks, he averages over 2 a game, which is steals and blocks. You're in a lot of trouble. There's only really 3 guys that are on the break that I would be absolutely frightened of on a basketball court, and it's like LeBron, Giannis, and Ben Simmons. I mean, dudes will just yam on anybody. So I'm gonna go with Ben Simmons as defensive player of the year.
So you're saying stats don't lie, okay? And my very deep analytics do. Okay. Anyways, Andrew, what do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, Johnny was spot on when he said that we're not going to disagree with you when giving LeBron awards, because I'm giving LeBron also Defensive Player of the Year. No Anthony Davis, and he still has his team with the highest defensive rating in the NBA. He's 36 and leading the NBA in defensive win shares. You can't really make it up what he's able to do on the court. He's nothing what we've ever seen before. He's holding right now. He's holding opponents when they shoot from 5 to 14 feet. He's on contested jump shots. He's holding them to 35% shooting from the floor on the season. So if you're anywhere near the paint area or just outside of it, trying to hit mid range, you ain't hitting shots against Bron.
Tell him, A. Tell him, A.
So I got LeBron James. I know there's a lot of guys out there. Miles Turner's averaging 3 blocks, but I'm gonna go with LeBron at 36.
I changed my mind.
Yeah. All right, there are 2 A's that are named for a reason because the A's are spot on here. We're gonna go to 6th Man of the Year award. I'll let Andrew go first on this one. Andrew, what do you think?
Another former Laker, man. Love to see the former Lakers thriving, and the young core of people that I tried to push were going to be the future of the Lakers doing well in other places. So we're going Jordan Clarkson. He's averaging close to 18 points, 4 boards, and 2 assists. He's shooting 38% from the 3-point line. He's only playing 26 minutes per game, but he's playing for the best team. Well, the team with the best record in the Western Conference, not the best team because we all know who that is. So I'll go Jordan Clarkson. He's seen an uptick in points, averaging about 4 more points than he did last season, and again on a winning team.
Gotcha. What do you think, Jay?
I hate to keep agreeing with the guy, but Jordan Clarkson is my pick. I mean, Quinn Snyder just lets him come off the bench and yank. So he's just going out there and getting any shot he wants whenever he wants it. He has scored 646 total points off the bench. That's 140 more than the next closest person. So, gosh, I hate to keep agreeing, but it's Jordan Clarkson, and it's not really close, unfortunately.
Okay. Again, another one of my picks to go against the Stride. So, I actually have LaMelo Ball as the 6th Man of the Year award, and I think there was a chance maybe for him to get some starting minutes here, but I think his turnovers will kind of keep him on the bench. Obviously, the guy said his stats already earlier at the top of this segment. Yeah, I could see a rookie taking it. I mean, the rookie is allowed to take it, right? I didn't read all the bylines, but
he is starting now, so I'm not sure what the rule is there.
Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah. But I kind of do see him kind of. Maybe I'm wrong there, but whatever. He did start off the season on the bench, right?
Nostradamus Asa sees him going back to the bench. That's what it is.
That is A-okay. That was maybe not the best take, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so MVPs. Jay, who is your 2020 to 2021 NBA fantasy real-time MVP?
Well, it's LeBron James. Shocker, shocker. I mean, he's in his 17th year. He's averaging 26, 8 and 8, 51% shooting, 36% from the 3-point line. Lakers are still the 3rd seed. Last time I checked, everyone's saying, Anthony Davis hasn't played. He's missed, what has he missed? He's missed 14 games already. And there are a ton of great options this year. I'm not going to lie. There's obviously Giannis. Joel Embiid has been playing stellar. Steph Curry is someone who's really picked this game up lately. God, that hurt to say. But yeah, LeBron only has 4 MVPs. He should probably have 9 at this point. I can see someone else getting it because people don't like to give LeBron yearly awards, I guess. I really don't know. But it's LeBron James. And yeah, it's a little biased. I don't care. If you think it's someone else, you better have a darn good argument. And I don't see one. So.
Okay. I will do my best here to tell you you're wrong, even though I don't think you are. The Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. Gonna keep it short and sweet here. He leads the team in all stats, even turnovers, whatever. Dude's been playing the most minutes. Dude's been balling. Jamal Murray has not been COVID bubble Jamal Murray of last year. I like him a lot. This dude is almost averaging a triple-double. He's just a couple assists shy, which is outstanding for a big man who plays, and he just loves playing. I think it would be fun to see him get the MVP award. And then last but not least, Andrew.
Yeah, I would love to agree and say LeBron. I am going to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and here's why. He's fresh off his All-Star Game MVP, and where he didn't miss a shot. He's third. They're third in the Eastern Conference with a new point guard kind of leading the leading the team with him. Drew Holiday's missed a couple games, so he's had to kind of carry the load. And the main reason I'm going to be picking Giannis here is because this is his third consecutive season where he's going to be averaging more than 27 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, a block, a steal, and shooting over 55% from the field. So I just don't want to overlook it. I'll go with Giannis here. I think maybe he takes that next step in the playoffs and gets the Bucks maybe to the Eastern Conference and even further. We'll see, but I think it's Giannis.
I think we looking at all our picks there, I think we had a couple of fun ones, but we'll see how the season plays out, and maybe we didn't get enough love to some of the top players on the top teams, but we'll see what happens. We're gonna let our man Jay here talk about our channel for a second. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I just wanted to start by giving a big thank you to everyone who has continued to watch our shows and has continued to engage with us, whether that be on social media or on YouTube. We've had a great time doing it. We're fairly new here. Every like, every comment, every follow is so big for us. We have our places that you can reach us here on the bottom of the screen, scrolling through right now. Our resident analytics guy and our resident creative people, Andrew and Ace, have done a great job of helping the show look professional, sound professional. We just want to take the time to say thank you guys so very much. If you guys can like, subscribe, interact with us in any way you can. As Asa said, we are a smaller channel, so we see everything. We're going to comment on everything. We're going to like everything. And again, just can't say thank you enough for everyone who's continued along, and we're going to keep going on this journey and hope that y'all will join.
The judge is in.
Judge Fudge.
And Judge Fudge Supreme. I am here, folks. Thank you for inviting me onto the show. We'll just kind of go with it. I'm just going to be do what I normally do, and that's judge opinions and facts, and kind of come to my own main truth, and then we will decide on that. In today's court session, we will be talking about fantasy running backs in the National Football League for next season, and I have tasked our plaintiffs and defendants here to give me their best argument as to who is going to possibly be the better running back, or who they don't like out of a certain group. And we're going to start it off with Mr. 2,000 yards himself, Derrick Henry. I want to ask you, both of you, Derrick Henry, king of the hill or over the hill? Andrew, please defend the king of the hill.
Yes, sir, that is right. He is king of the hill, and he will be a top 4 running back. And I'll tell you why. The Titans have shown no signs of going away from giving him the ball. Over the last 3 seasons, his workload and production have increased, while his yards per carry average, which is 5, has stayed exactly the same, basically. In the last 3 seasons, he's also increased his rushing yards by by 500 yards in each season, and has had an uptick in carries by at least 75 carries per season, dating back to the 2018 season. I expect them to rely heavily on him again in the upcoming season, especially when we're not sure about what they're going to be doing with their wide receivers. Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith are free agents, so not sure what they're going to do there. But the one thing I would say about Derrick Henry is just I like he went over 30 targets out of the backfield for the first time last season. I'd like to see that continue to increase, maybe get upwards of 40, maybe 50, because that was the first time in his career that he's had more than 30 targets out of the backfield. So I do think he'll be a top 4 running back just based on the volume that he's going to be getting.
I will have order. Okay. Everyone settle down. All right, Jay. Tell the court your argument. Why is King Henry over the hill this year?
Yeah, so he's unbelievable, right? He runs the ball a ton, and that's all great and dandy, but most fantasy leagues now are PPR last time I checked, and I'll take a full point for a reception over no points for a carry all day and twice on Sundays. You see what I did there? As Andrew mentioned, he's only had 30 catches once. And if you look at his target share, it's minuscule compared to the guys that are in the top, like Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, even Dalvin Cook sees a pretty solid target share from Kirk Cousins. So I don't know if he's going to be a top 4. I mean, he's definitely going to be like a top 10. Again, just the volume alone is going to keep him afloat there. But to be top 4, you need to do a little bit of everything. You need to be able to catch the ball. Again, I already talked about it, but a full point just for my running back can literally catch the ball and fall down, and he'll score a full point. and that's better than Derrick Henry running through a scrum at the line of scrimmage and getting 1 yard. So I would say he's over the hill for this.
As I ask jurors every time they're on this show, please do not be swayed by sympathy. So I will not sympathize with any of you here with my decision. I will just respect your facts, and I will side with Jay, and I will do so, and not be told I am wrong.
I gotta be honest, I did not see that coming, but okay. Yeah.
And I will do so because I think the phrase goes, all good things must end. And the end of the old running back is here and now. No more one-dimensional. You must be multifaceted. And I think your argument for King Henry to be multifaceted is a little... it was a little bit more important than what counsel said about him being just a monster machine.
I did forget he had 17 rushing touchdowns. I mean, if he's going to score 17 rushing touchdowns, sure, he's going to be top five. Sorry.
Order! Okay. We're moving on to the next case here. For a second tier of running backs from fantasypros.com, we looked at everybody except Derrick Henry in this case because he was put in the second tier and not the first tier. Zeke, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones. Who are we not buying out of this bunch? Who is not a tier 2 quarterback? I will ask Jay to go first this time. Please, Jay.
Yeah, so this one's not particularly close. It's Nick Chubb. He's the only one that has a more than viable number 2 behind him in Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt is a starting running back for 30 other football teams. He's unbelievable running between the tackles. His questions are very similar to Derrick Henry as well. He's solely reliant on rushing ability because he doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield. Literally, anytime it's third down and more than 3 yards, you're going to see Kareem Hunt running onto the field. And for DFS, it's demoralizing, and I can't stand to see it. The Browns are going to bring back Odell Beckham, I think. They have a plethora of weapons with him, Jarvis Landry, a bunch of tight ends that they have no business having, and 2 competent running backs. So I'm just looking at it from a ceiling perspective. Every single other player in that tier gets it done on the ground and through the air. Nick Chubb does not and has a viable number 2 behind him. So I would say Nick Chubb has the lowest ceiling of that tier.
Let me call the next witness, so to speak, Andrew. Who do you have to say about this group of tier 2 running backs?
I object to fantasy owners buying stock in Austin Eckler yet again.
Sustained.
Austin Eckler, who only played 10 games last season, finished with only 3 total touchdowns. When he plays, he's relatively productive in the passing game, but he's not really giving you much else in terms of out of the backfield stuff. And I know I'm going back to a bit of an argument that I just lost with the Derrick Henry trial. We're not going to talk about it, but I would like to see him be able to do stuff with normal handoffs to be able to open up the play action a little bit better. His one thing I have concern with is his reception average dropped from 10 yards to 7.5 last season. And again, this isn't limited time, but I also want him to stay healthy. He played every game his rookie season, but wasn't really on the field. He was more of a special teams guy. Then played 14, then 16, and now 10. So not awful. His injury history isn't awful, but again, I would like to see him play a full 16 games being the feature back, and that's what I think we missed last year. But I'm going to object to having him on my team, or maybe DFS, but on fan and season long, do not buy Austin Eckler.
Can you tell the jury, Jay and Andrew, one more time your picks? So Jay, you believe it's Nick Chubb? Is that who? And Andrew, please describe your pick again. Is in his full name? What was his name?
Austin Eckler.
Okay.
He's number 30 for the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think you are. As being the judge on this case, I don't want to belabor anybody by continuing on here, but I'm going to say you are both wrong. This has been a mistrial. I think you're both wrong. These two running backs deserve to be in the tier 2.
No, sir.
If anybody doesn't deserve to be in the tier 2, it's Aaron Jones. He's not on a team right now. The answer was right in front of both of you.
What?
And
What?
my argument is sustained. Yes. Okay. I respect.
Over 2. I'm over 2.
Judge Fudge rules.
Okay. Please, sir, may I have some more? Tier 3 running backs on fantasypros.com. DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Andrew, please let the people of the court know who will give us some more, who will maybe climb the ranks to a tier 2 running back next year.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am investing in Antonio Gibson. I think he has the highest upside given these facts. J.D. McKissick, who is now a free agent for the Washington football team, and a lot of people will remember who had them on this fantasy team last year, will know that J.D. McKissick saw a lot of opportunities out of the backfield in terms of pass catching that Antonio Gibson didn't get, and he still had 44 receptions, Antonio Gibson did, on the season, which he is perfectly capable of using those receptions and creating yards in space. He only played 14 games. He missed 2 of them. He went just over 1,000 yards from scrimmage and had 11 total touchdowns. I think that there's really only 2 players on that roster. I'm going to throw your guy Logan Thomas in the dirt that they can really count on for the Washington football team, and that's Terry McLaurin, and the other one's Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson is my guy for the highest upside next year.
The defense rests its case for Antonio Gibson. Is there an objection to that, Jay? Who are you defending?
I object. And the name that I will throw into the ring is Miles Sanders. Now, I know there's a lot of questions about this offense. Don't get me wrong. New quarterback coming in. Jalen Hurts only played a few games last year. But Miles Sanders is one of those guys, especially in PPR formats, that can do a little bit of everything. If Aaron Jones is like 92% Christian McCaffrey, then Miles Sanders is like 90 to 88% Christian McCaffrey. He can do a lot of the same things that those guys can, whether that's detach from the back of the line of scrimmage and go ahead and line up wide and run routes like a receiver, or if that means coming inside and running between the tackles. Last year in the 3 games that he played, with Jalen Hurts starting, he saw 15 plus rushes per game, and he saw almost 5 targets. So I'll take that. Hopefully those targets go up a little bit and are easily converted because, again, he's a great catcher out of the backfield, super explosive in terms of yards after the carry and playmaking ability. So I think Miles Sanders has a great opportunity to give Asa some more, please.
You may take a seat, counselor. The Judge Ace here has decided to rule in favor of the defendant for Washington football's team's Antonio Gibson. The judge,
I knew that was coming.
The judge has made it clear that he previously has a liking to this running back, and
You picked the wrong NFC East back.
Do we need to get a new judge with a little bias here? Our judge is supposed to be unbiased.
And I am under oath, and one of my pillars is to use my common sense. So I will go ahead and use that all day and twice on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Let's crank the volume up. Volume plays in the tier 4 running backs. David Montgomery versus James Robinson. Will the defendant for James Robinson please come to the stand?
I shall. And I will take James Robinson in this volume play role because it's another one of those situations, kind of like in Washington, where who else is going to see the football? Especially with a new quarterback, we're all assuming Trevor Lawrence coming in. Urban Meyer is going to really want to make sure he establishes a run game for him. He led all rookie running backs last season, even though he missed 2 games, in touches and yards from scrimmage and averaged 4.5 yards per carry. And he scored 10 total touchdowns. So I'm going to go with James Robinson here. I don't think there's a lot on the roster that they're going to have to work with initially, and it's going to be a big project down in Jacksonville. But James Robinson is going to see a ton of time, as he did last season, and I would expect the numbers to be similar to what he did in his first season in terms of production, if not better. James Robinson.
Will the defendant for David Montgomery please rise?
just as our resident Judge Pudge over there mentioned he had a predetermined bias for Antonio Gibson, I have quite the predetermined bias for David Montgomery. Now, when you really boil it down and you do the research, it's actually a little crazy how similar both of their seasons were last year. So in terms of attempts, David Montgomery had 247 rushing attempts. James Robinson had 240. In terms of yardage, they had the exact same yardage rushing, 1,070 yards rushing for both of these gentlemen last year. David Montgomery had 8 touchdowns. James Robinson had 7. David Montgomery had 68 targets. James Robinson had 60. Now, why I lean towards David Montgomery is if you look towards the end of the year and the beginning of the year and the stark differences between what David Montgomery was getting in terms of uses, it's ridiculous. Now, James Robinson was somebody who had a consistent carry and workload throughout the entire season, which is good. It's great. But if I'm going to project that David Montgomery, considering how well he played in those last 6 games where he had 598 rushing yards and 8 total touches on 116 carries and 24 catches on 27 targets, if he can do that over a 16-game season, then it's going to be David Montgomery, and it's not particularly close. He's also going to be in I couldn't even just say it out loud because it was almost like a little action here, but Chicago's offense is better than Jacksonville's, I think.
By how much?
Your statistics have been brought in. I will let the defense rest for both. In some cases where I myself, the judge, is troubled not by lack of evidence, but by lack of perspective, I will sometimes poll the jury. So I am asking everyone at home, you are the jury on this case. Please let us know. After all the facts have been stated to you by the defendants of James Robinson, Andrew, and David Montgomery, Jay, please let us know in the comments section. We will poll you on this answer. Who is the better running back? Now, I did a little bit of digging to find my chamber robes. They were a little dusty. Thank you for joining us in this first courtroom battle of running back selections. We have been, it's been a blast to have you all. We will be back soon to talk some sports, both real life and fantasy, where you'll hear the best takes from Jay and his crazy stats, and Andrew will give you his majestic smile a little bit more, as we almost always have done. Let's do a little rhyme time, and so miss me with that matinee, stay up late with AJA.
Yes,
That'll do
sir.
it for us today, folks. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, guys.